Hi, I'm Christy. I want to talk to you today about school versus work as an option for future. Now, this is one other area that will be different if you have an adult that has become disabled or had an accident and now has special needs versus a child who has become an adult. When you have a child who's become an adult, this could be a possibility. So the question becomes, what do they do after they graduate from high school? Sometimes you'll have the option to keep them in school, or maybe it's time to find them an appropriate job. But how do you help them get trained? And all kinds of questions come up. And sometimes it can be kind of overwhelming. For us, we've had the option to keep AJ in our school district. Because AJ graduated with an adjusted diploma and has an IEP, he's able to stay in our district until he turns 22. Now, again, this means you have to graduate with an adjusted diploma, which is not your typical high school diploma. If you have a standard diploma, then you graduate and you're done. End of story, just like we would expect. Unfortunately, not everybody in administration, not all the counselors understand the differences between an adjusted diploma and a regular diploma. And so sometimes they're not able to pass this information along to the parents, and so the parents don't know the difference or that this option might be available to their child. We were fortunate that the people around AJ in the school district understood this difference, and they made sure that he did graduate with adjusted diploma. This means that he can stay in our school district. So they have about 7 or 8 different programs total that are options for these kids that are staying in the district after they graduate. It's called the post-secondary programs. Of those, 2 were good options, or we thought were good options for AJ. Unfortunately, he didn't make them into either one of those programs for this fall. So we decided to go with our third option, which was to keep him in the same class he's been in all through high school. You can read more details about this over on my blog. You can find it at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in October of 2018. Now we're actually already in the process of applying for next fall's programs. And as I was talking to his teacher earlier this year, we decided that there's really one program that would be the best fit for AJ. And so we're going to put all our eggs in one basket and we're going to apply for that program. The second program that I mentioned, we don't think that he's quite ready to work independently enough, and so we don't think he'd qualify for it. So we're going to leave that one aside for right now and apply for this other one. Now, we're also taking this fall, or we're looking at this as an opportunity to set him up to succeed and not set him up to fail. And we think that this one program that we're applying for will best do that. So especially after the success that he had this summer, working the 2 different jobs that you can read about over on the blog. I linked to them there. His teacher made the comment to me this fall that if he's offered a job that's a really good fit for him, we seriously need to consider taking it, because they don't come along very often in our area. And he is ready to work in the right situation. Now, me personally, I'm not sure I'm ready for him to go to work yet. But it was nice to hear from an objective person that knows my son that he is ready in the right situation. And his teacher is helping him to continue prepare him for future jobs and to develop those skills. So again, our choice is to keep him in school for this year. But the choice between more school or working will vary from person to person and family to family. Sometimes staying in your school district won't be an option, like I mentioned before. But maybe additional schooling is a good option for your loved one. If they're already an adult, then you'd have to look into other options. So some of the things that you might look at is if they don't qualify for the school district, then is there a college or a community college that they could qualify in? Are there programs specifically for somebody with disabilities? Are there any vocational training programs? Is there an organization in your area that would help train them for a job? I'd also ask questions like, is there a specific industry that your loved one enjoys and is capable of being successful in? Is there a way, again, for them to get the additional training that they would need? Or what kind of alternative work situations are out there? If there's not that, then are there any alternatives besides working? Now, we know for AJ that he can be very successful in the custodial industry. He prefers to work in the automotive industry, though, because of his love for cars. I'm not sure that's totally possible, but whenever he's been asked, he says that he wants to change the oil at the Ford dealership. Why the Ford dealership? I'm not quite sure, but that's what he would love to do. And so that's something we'll look into in the future. But we know that today he has a few issues that he still needs to work on. Things like being able to focus on his task and not get distracted. Being able to work more independently with less supervision. And so these are things that have helped us decide to keep him in school for another year and help him work on improving these areas and gaining a little bit more maturity in the process, we hope. Now, some of the additional options, like I mentioned, would be another agency. In our area, it's called the Bureau of Vocational Rehabilitation. And I'll talk more about that organization specifically in the next few weeks. You can keep an eye on the blog and on these videos. So my question for you this week is this. What options do you have available for your loved ones? What questions do you ask? I'd love to hear what you have decided or what you're working through and leaning towards. Are there any other questions that I've forgotten that you have asked? I'd love to hear about them. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog, again at havenofhopeforme.com. I'd appreciate it if you'd share this with anybody that you think might find it beneficial. I want to help as many families as I possibly can. If you want to make sure that you don't miss any of these posts as they come out, or any new posts as I release them, I'd love for you to sign up for my email list. You can do that over on the website. I promise to only send things that I think you'll find helpful, beneficial, and useful. I'm relieved to have a second step already done, even if it has been a little bit eventful. I'm grateful for the continued growth and maturity that AJ is showing. And as I consider options for the future, I'm reminded once again that life is good, and there is never a dull moment.